Michael.
And I'm Rich.
And welcome to the ODL podcast.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How's your week been?
I'm all right. I'm on half term this week, so been out for walking the dog a few times. How's your week been?
Fine, yeah. Just work and the same. Went on a nice walk on the weekend in Horwich somewhere. Can't remember the name. And it was a nice enough walk, nice views. Thing is where I am is all the walks around like Horwich and Rivington and all those, they're really lovely walks, and you always get a really stunning view, well, depending on the weather, but you get a stunning view of Manchester as well. You can always see like the Hilton just on the horizon and stuff, which is really nice. So
you don't get a nice view of Bolton?
Is there a nice view of Bolton? I don't know. If there is, let me know. Someone tell me. Email me. Write in. Tell us about our guest this week, Rich.
So today we are joined by the wonderful Adrian Manion, who always makes me laugh and smile. I was saying earlier on, I've not done much research on Adrian because I've done quite a lot of events with him, mostly revolving around a campfire, where I've got to know him quite well anyway. So my little bit of research, the Adrian Manion that I'm going to present to you has done 131 events, has quite a reputation for fancy dress. I knew you'd know that one. He's basically been to every camp and hostel event under the sun. And there are many memorable moments, of which I have a favourite one that has scarred me for life, which I'll talk about later on. What was, just because we were talking about this slightly earlier on, can you actually remember your first event?
I can, yes. It was New Year's Eve, 2014 into 2015 at Hawkshead Youth Hostel.
It was indeed, yeah, it was. Yeah,
I know. No, I remember. I remember it very clearly to this day.
All right. Do you remember what your second event was?
I think it was Anik YHA.
Oh, you've got such a good memory. Whoa, crap! I almost fell off the...
Near-death experience.
Yeah.
Have you just been stalking his OutdoorLads profile to see what his events have been?
Yeah, he's one of those.
So, if that was your first event, why did you go? Because going to a hostel for your first event is quite a big commitment.
I suppose I'd been, not officially a member, but I'd been on a mailing list for ODL for about a year and done nothing about it. And I got an email, must have been around sort of September, just like a newsletter thing. And I just had a look at it. And at the time, I didn't realize if you go on a waiting list, it's a good chance to get onto things. So I just found the first thing that was available with spaces on and just thought, well, I'll book it. And I also thought, if I go in my own car, if I hate it, I can always leave early.
I can run away.
Unfortunately, I was one of the first people to get there. And of course, Christmas and New Year's hostel events, your car gets blocked in. So I couldn't get away.
Yeah, I was about to say that because I thought that one of the Christmas hostels once, it was someone else gave me a lift, but I was thinking like, I thought before I got there, I had this plan in my head that, well, I don't know if it's going to be for me or not. And I just don't know because it's more of a party hostel. And we've talked about previous hostels and stuff. I like the more low key kind of like little board games and sit around the fire sort of thing. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. And obviously I had a great time, but on the build up to it, I was like, oh, I don't know. I could just drive there and just leave at any point. And as soon as we got there and parked, and then about 5 other cars blocked us in, I thought, oh, I'm glad I didn't go with that plan because that would have been awkward, 10 minutes in. Could you move your car so I can escape, please?
Were the hostels back then? I said back then. It's only what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? Was it any different to a hostel you'd go to now?
So it was odd because it was a party one. So yeah, we did have the midnight disco and things like that, which isn't your average hostel. But in the sense that, everyone mucked in, the buffet was still beige. It was New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay. Where is that?
It was at Hawkshead, the Hawkshead Manor or something. It is very nice hostel. I have learned things like you don't go into a dormitory with 14 people if it's a smaller dormitory. You don't share a bunk with the person who's famous for snoring.
That's like that great story. I won't name who it is, but apparently my first hostel event was Skiddaw. We've talked about this every week now, so that whoever's listening is like, stop talking about Skiddaw. But it was Skiddaw, and I think there were 2 rooms to choose from. I chose the smaller room with 6 other guys, or 5 other guys, and the main room I think was about 10 or something in the group.
I was in there.
And there's one person in that room who I won't name, but apparently they had something wrong with their nose. So when they were breathing at night, the noise was kind of more like all night long. So that was the noise they're making. So most people thought that something else was possibly going on. And about half an hour in, someone just shouted, "Shut up!" And then this noise went on until about 5 a.m, at which point nearly everyone had thrown their socks at this person to say, "Please shut up."
I have been in a hospital weekend where they've like provided you with what they're called, ear defenders things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know somebody that always carries a bag with them and issues them if you end up in the same dorm. It's probably the same person, isn't it?
It's my biggest paranoia about camping or hostel events. My biggest paranoia is, well, one, me snoring, because I don't think I do snore, not badly anyway, or two, just being stuck in a room with someone who snores, because I can't drown it out. I just end up trying to plot their death because I just can't deal with it.
But the flip side of that is when it comes to summer, you can go camping and then you're not quite stuck with someone who snores.
Gee, why?
Oh, I've had snorers camping. Yeah, I've had snorers next to me camping. It's worse. It's like in the drum.
Yeah, but you've got like other bits of nature, like you've got cows mooing or sheep around or the waterfalls or...
Yeah, equally annoying. All annoying. Terribly annoying.
Yeah.
I
Or peacocks.
sometimes I'd love to get outside with a revolver and just shoot them down from the sky, because my God, first thing in the morning, seagulls going off. It's just so frustrating.
Well, the peacocks one, that was up at that's what I was talking about last week. The Stone Circle one, wasn't it? Near
Yes.
Matlock. Oh my God, I didn't know peacocks make that much noise, or peahens rather, isn't it? That makes a noise. So what is it about camps and hostels that makes it your type of event?
I've been asked this before, and the only thing day walks are great. I love going on a day walk, but there's a bit of an anticlimax. It's sort of 4:30, 5 o'clock when you get back to the car, and that's it all over. Yeah. And you go back and it's Saturday evening, and it's like, oh, the hostel. You get back, you've done your walk, you muck around, make a cup of tea. People go off for their disco naps, whatever. But then you've got the social aspect as well. You've got your meal, you've got your chat around. Especially the smaller hostels, you get around the fire. There's always somebody takes over, loading logs onto the fire. You say board games come out, open a drink, and that's what I like about it. It's your weekend. It's not a few hours out.
And how did you feel with it being like your first proper event was a really big, very public kind of hostel? What was that like? What was it? Was it really nerve-wracking, or what was the process like?
Well, here's a tip. I put a note on the event page saying, does anybody want a lift? So I took 2 people with me. So I worked on the idea that at least when I walk in, I'm not walking in on my own. I've spoken to 2 people for the last couple of hours. So yeah, it sort of broke the ice by meeting a couple of people before going on to the event. But yeah, it just worked. It was quite strange how it just sort of fell into place. People's, wandering in and out of the rooms and things like that.
It's almost like an unwritten rule with Outdoor Lads that sometimes if you're at an event, no matter how big it is or small it is, that if there's someone stood on their own in the corner of the room, either you or someone's going to go over to him and just start a chat, just, hey, who are you? Have a conversation with them and just kind of make them feel included.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've never, I think I asked once, is there like a sort of social person at every event that has to make sure that everyone's feeling included? And they were like, no, it's just everyone's very inclusive.
It just happens, yeah.
Just wants to make everyone feel really warm and welcome.
The big hostels, people split them into groups anyway, and the small hostels, well, that's fine because you're going to be part of the group anyway. Even if you're sitting quietly on the sofa, there's a conversation going around you that other people, they know each other, and they'll either join you in the conversation or you'll sort of have something you want to contribute. And the next thing you know, 2 o'clock in the morning and all the bottles are empty.
So over the course of 5, 6, 7 years, has your contribution to the ODL buffet improved?
Yes, yeah, I don't buy anything for it now. I make things for it.
Wow, what was the first thing that you brought to the ODL buffet?
The very first thing I bought was a shop-bought tiramisu.
Oh, that's not a bad choice, though.
That's not a bad choice. That's not as beige as I was expecting, because there's a lot of beige there.
But since then, I've made my own tiramisus to take to hostel events.
Very nice.
Sticking with the theme.
So the rule, to anyone that doesn't know, so I think we mentioned this in a previous, I think the first episode, we said that when it comes to an ODL weekend, mainly the hostel weekends, the first night is a buffet, and every member gets asked to bring with them something for the buffet, and it's urged, Rich, that you don't bring with you pizza or cake, because it's just so beige and boring, and if everyone thought, because if you were kind of late to it, you'd think, I'll just bring a beige. I'll just bring a beige. I'll just bring a quiche, and then you would just have a weekend of just quiche. That's all you would have.
Yeah, but my argument is everybody loves quiche, or most people do. But then also, because I get to work at 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock. So I can't really cook. I could cook the night before, but then I can't refrigerate it. It has to stay in the car. And I can't leave work until late. And I can't take time off work because I'm a teacher. So I have to go straight after work and sometimes don't get to hostels until late or as it starts. So I've already packed the night before and things. So that's my excuse. I'm sure there's ways around it.
I always think it's funny because they say try not to bring pizza or quiche because otherwise it's too beige. But then I think, but I quite like pizza and quiche. So what's the ratio going to be? Because I don't want it to just be pizza and quiche, but I'm going to be really sad if I get there and there's no pizza or quiche. So
I did a hostel once and there was 10 pizzas and there was only 15 people on the hostel.
Some of them are really good though, and you go and there's a whole array of food that are all being crafted and homemade and things, and then you daren't have any of it. You're walking past and going, someone has spent all their time making 4 gorgeous sausage rolls. Can I be the 1 out of 40 people to get it?
Because some people go, because I tend to bake something that I can batch bake. So I make either my pecan shortbread or carrot cake or banoffee pie or something like that. I can make maybe 1 or 2 of them, and then that's just done. Whereas some people, and when it comes to decoration, it's just dull up on the whatever, and because it's all going to just get mixed up into a big buffet anyway. But like you say, some people will do the sausage rolls, and they'll be kind of glazed in the sesame seeds and things, and it looks like they bought them from Waitrose, and I'm like, bloody heck, I don't want to. I feel like I'm not worthy to pick those off the buffet cart. I'm just going to go down and get some more quiche.
My favorite one though is when people bring a cheese board. Nothing quite like a middle class cheese board. And
the good thing about a cheese board is what's left over you can have in your sandwiches the next day.
So Adrian Mannion, the fancy dress expert, how did you realise that you had such a gift for dressing up?
Would you believe me if I said I used to hate fancy dress?
Yeah, because I don't like fancy dress either, and you made me dress up.
And we got you in one last year, didn't we?
Yeah. It was Halloween, and we went as the what were they called? Not the sisters, the
whores.
Whores. Oh yeah, the
whores from Les Mis.
Yeah.
The pox-ridden whores.
Callum in the air.
The heels did not last all night. There are some really good ones every year. Some that really make you think. The one that really scares me. Well, this isn't my most. Maybe it is a scarring moment, actually. I've got 2 scarring moments from you now, Adrian. So I'll walk you through them. The first one was the first time I met you, and you were a World War I soldier.
Oh, burns victim.
It was, so to put it in context, he was very good with, is it prosthetics? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
So all his face was covered in these fake burns, and his face was melting.
Yeah.
Had a gas mask on top of it, but did not speak to me for about 2 hours, but kept on coming up to me and just staring at me. And I was like, what's going on? I didn't hate it. It was only later in the evening, I was like, okay, he's because part of me for a while thought, maybe he just can't speak. Maybe that's just, and I'm overthinking this. Turns out I wasn't overthinking it at all. He was just being that creepy. So that's my first scarred memory.
Nice.
Very, very, very good though. I mean, that was one hell of a costume. But then 2019 Christmas in Langdale.
Oh, Big North Christmas, yeah.
Christmas share. So there's no Santa. So there's a secret Santa every year. So you all bring a present and you get a present. And instead of it being given out by Santa, this year it was given out by Christmas share, which other than Adrian scarred me. That.
Yeah, well, share. That was Share's second outing, because there was one year when Halloween weekend fell between Halloween and bonfire night. So it wasn't really Halloween, but it wasn't really bonfire night. So they did 80s disco was the theme. So that's where Share popped up originally.
I like the Christmas iteration of Share was quite good. It made everyone get up and laugh. It just scared me a little bit.
Mind you, yeah. Size 11 feet wearing stiletto boots.
I always loved there was a brief moment of panic in America when they thought Cher was dead, because Maggie Thatcher had died in this country, and the hashtag was hashtag now Thatcher's dead. But when you read it, it read as now that Cher's dead.
Cher's
And then
dead.
there was a like, oh my God, she's dead. No, she's well and truly somewhat alive. Don't worry.
Did you? I don't know if you went. Me and Michael went to with the murder mystery fancy dress weekend. Were you at that one?
No, couldn't make that one.
That was that the Yorkshire Dales?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't far from Harrogate. But that was great.
Right, no.
Someone had taken a photo, so everyone got quite into their roles, and I was a vicar because that's a former life that I almost did. And who were you, Michael? You were some form of wife.
I can't remember the name of the character, but I was supposed to be like a 1930s starlet kind of, like jazz singer. And I was kind of going for a very Roxy from Chicago look. I was more closely, I looked a bit more like Gail Platt after she'd been thrown down the stairs in Coronation Street. So it didn't really land the way I wanted to look. Go on.
Well, the story I had really is that someone took a photo that evening. I've not seen it since, luckily. But because I was being a vicar, I was trying to hunt out the gays essentially. Because there was rumours in the storyline that the murderer was gay. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds like a job for a vicar to find out. So I was talking to all these people. Anyway, Michael's character came over and was determined to come to me for confession. So we'd gone outside somewhere a bit quiet.
The story gets worse.
Yeah, and he knelt down at the end to receive his absolution. And of course, from the right angle, Michael lying down in front of me, not lying down, kneeling down in front of me, looks perfectly like he's doing inappropriate things.
Yeah, someone took a picture from the balcony and it was of me on my knees in the car park with the vicar. It wasn't a very, it was a confession. I felt clear I felt my soul was cleared afterwards.
Yeah. Your soul.
Yeah.
It was, but then the rumour started going around that the vicar was getting off with the jazz singer.
Gail Platt.
Gail Platt, but no one knew if it was real life or if it was part of the comedy of the murder mystery night.
So, Rich, tell me on the sly, how's the podcast actually doing?
Pretty well. We are number 5 in South Africa's wilderness chart, and overall we're about 800 in the world, so that's pretty decent.
Okay, so really we want to be maybe number 4 in South Africa and 700 in the world. So, what can we do to achieve that?
Well, Michael, you could like and subscribe on whatever channel you follow us on, so if it's on Spotify or Apple. But more importantly, if you could leave us a lovely message.
I think that'll work, as long as we don't do any of those really cringy podcast adverts.
Do you know what, Michael? I really enjoy making this podcast with you, but at the same time, you bore the hell out of me. So what I'd really like to hear is from you, the members, getting in touch and sending us a lovely message through the Outdoor Lads website.
You're right, Rich, because I think you're tediously boring, so I want to hear more people. So if you've got an idea for something you want to say to us, a voice clip, maybe one of your favourite Outdoor Lads memories, then go to the Outdoor Lads website, About Us, find the Outdoor Lads the podcast, and there'll be a form for you to fill out to send us some content.
Right, my next line of inquiry is the evolution of Adrian the camper. So I've got 2 questions for you that'll follow on.
Right.
The first one is a bit generic anyway. What are the essentials that you need for camping?
Tent.
Good start.
Thanks for that detailed analysis of camping.
Yeah, but if you're sharing a tent, you don't need a tent.
Okay. Well, you don't need a sleeping bag then if you're sharing a sleeping bag.
Romantic. Although I couldn't share a double sleeping bag thing.
No. Airbed.
Yeah, would you say airbed or just like yoga mat sort of thing? Because some people just use those, don't they? They're kind of like.
Ooh, I wouldn't know. I don't go to like campsites that are like bowling greens. I tend to go to ones that have got a bit of a rocky surface that you try your best to find the smooth patch, and halfway through the night you find you didn't.
Yeah, because I can't stand a sleeping mat sort of thing. I also don't like a camping bed, like one that's that sort of cloth between.
I'd feel harder to fall out of that. No.
That's too hard. I just prefer an inflatable mattress.
Yeah, inflatable airbed I think is essential.
But that's one of those things again where you kind of got to go to quality, because if you buy like the cheapest one you can find, I can guarantee you'll wake up in the middle of the night on the ground anyway, because it will have gone down.
Yeah,
right?
The first event you do buy the $9.99 one, and then you throw it away before you go home.
I went cheap one year and bought this like water container thing, this black plasticky bag.
Yeah.
and I went and filled it. I cleaned it loads before going away. Went and filled it up with water. Came back, and it was Big Spring Camp the year before last. Poured it into the kettle, and we were all making tea for each other. And I could see one by one people's heads kind of going.
I remember that.
Oh, because I remember drinking my coffee thinking, this tastes wrong. And I could see everyone going, oh. And then eventually someone went, oh, this is rank. What's wrong with this tea? And then everyone was going, oh, Michael bought that rubbish sack for water. It tastes like that. Oh, Michael. And everyone had to go at me, and it was horrible. But yeah, I learned my mistake because it was cheap.
So what then are the essentials, not just for a camper, but for Adrian Manion to go camping?
Oh, now I've got to take a fire pit with me.
Yeah, but you did more like your fire pit, from what I remember, like converts into like a full-on oven almost.
Yeah, I've got 3 to choose from now.
Of course you have.
So go on, what are you kind of what's your top list of Adrian camping gear?
Right, I've got a box that sits in the cellar with most of it in. So camping stove and a kettle, and a cafetiere, because you've got to have decent coffee in the morning. Tent you can stand up in, because the first tent you buy you can't stand up in, and you wish you've got a bigger one. Comfortable airbed, reasonable sleeping bag. Yeah, last few events I went on, for some reason, inflatable unicorn has now also become a feature.
I was surprised that wasn't top of the list, to be honest.
There is rainbow bunting as well that has been known to crop up at
obviously,
events. Yeah, and a head torch.
Oh yeah, that is the number one. I would say to anyone going on a camping trip, bring a head torch, because depending on where you are, you know, if you need the toilet in the middle of the night, it's just handy to have with you.
Yeah.
Better than carrying your phone with you. And then even handier when you're trying to do the business. If the toilet block you go to doesn't have any lighting and you're trying to hold a phone while holding other bits, it's difficult. So a head torch is great.
Yep, a head torch, definitely.
I agree with coffee. You're very correct about coffee being, you know, you need a proper cafetiere. I recently got a proper percolator, and that is going with me camping next time, because that's the best way to have coffee. Because I've made like proper weak instant coffee while I've been camping, and it just drags the mood down. What
is your favourite campsite in the UK?
You think you know the answer. You think you're going to know the answer to this, don't you?
It's like Mr. and Mrs.
Because you think I'm going to say Turner Hall Farm in the Duddon Valley, also known as Hidden Lake.
I did,
yeah, that is.
Because, is it? my question was going to be, like, because you talk about head torches, and I'm like, where we camped last time, and I was like, is that you waking up in the night and like, do I want to go to the nearby Portaloo, or do I want to commit to going to the toilet to the other end of the campsite?
Yeah,
it's longer but nicer, and that I was wearing that.
Because we always pitch as far away as possible from the toilet block at that campsite.
It's long and thin, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the campsite? Where is this one? Sorry.
Duddon Valley, near Coniston, in the Lake District.
Oh, is this Hidden Lakes?
Yeah.
Explain. So what is Hidden Lakes? What is that event? Because I've never done it, but I've seen it every year, and I keep thinking I want to do it, but I'm a bit. What is it?
It's an incredibly remote. It's a farm with a bit of land behind it, which summarizes it right. But it is probably one of the most remote parts of the Lake District. Single track road for about 4 or 5 miles. You literally drive through the front of the farmer's house to get to it. But once you get there, it's just complete peace and quiet. Starlit nights. Yeah, you get the sound of sheep in the field next door and the brook running next to you. But yeah, it's just, if you want to get away from everything, no Wi-Fi, no telephones, nothing, it's the place to go.
And it's great because the location, that you can go swimming underneath a little waterfall.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And then there's loads of walks to do. And last time I was there, we went up the Old Man of Coniston, because that's right next to it as well. So and the weather was fantastic. So if you get a good weekend, it's just a beautiful place. I think it's my favourite campsite actually as well now. Yeah. I'm a convert.
My favourite camping site would be, but we haven't done it as an OutdoorLads thing, but is Kaidi, which is right on the sort of, like it's put down. It's sort of North Wales, but it's coming close to, you know, the west coast, sort of mid Wales, and it's right near a little town called Tywyn, which is also Oh no, it's near, and it's just up the road from a town called Abu Dhabi, which is really cute, like really sweet. And it's such a gorgeous campsite, and it's like with Shell Island, you are right on like a cliff, just a small cliff just above the sea. So
But because it's the West Coast, the sun sets perfectly over the sea. And
so it is you get this perfect sunset, and then and there's loads of fire pits, so it's really nice and warm, and it's a really good place for like a small group of like 6 to 8 guys sort of thing. Because I really struggle with sleeping sometimes, and I can't stand listening to like rain on CD or the sea on Spotify or whatever. So when I went camping at Kaidi, and I was a bit kind of, I had a few beers and I was a bit sort of hyped up because it's such a fun place to be. I was just going to sleep, and I could hear the sea,
lapping
against the shore sort of thing. Yeah, it was so peaceful, and I just fell asleep, like just fell straight asleep. It was so relaxing, and had such a. I mean, I'm such a lion, I'm so lazy in the morning. Really slept in, but it was one of the most. Camping is probably the most peaceful I sleep, like all year round. That's why last year was so hard for me, because I didn't get to camp at any time
until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're freezing. Because I always seem to be bloody, I was going to say parked, that's not the right word, erected underneath a tree or in the shade.
Pitched is the word, pitched.
Yeah, well, erected is not the wrong word either, though, is it? Are you ready for a game?
Yeah, always.
Right. So it's the lightning round. I've got 8 questions for you, and some of them are dead straightforward, some of them not. But you must give me the first answer that comes into your head.
Right.
It's the lightning round.
That'll do, yeah.
Right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So, Adrian, first day of the week. Not first.
Monday.
Favorite day of the week.
Friday.
Is double dipping at parties ever acceptable?
No.
How many pull-ups in a row can you do?
I don't even know what a pull-up is.
You got to pull yourself up.
No, I still don't know.
I'm going to go with 0 then. Like none.
Yeah, go 0.
Make a high-pitched sound. Is that 4? I think that's 4. Right. Granted, I just went for every other question, and you might get the better ones here, though, Michael.
Right. Okay, well, let's see what happens.
Right, fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is...
Okay.
Controversial.
I'm not a mad fan.
Would you rather cuddle a baby panda or a baby penguin?
Baby penguin every time.
But I was going to say they could claw, but they've got claws in their feet. Never mind.
They can peck. They can do all sorts.
We've read a book about penguins recently.
Yeah, I was about to say. We read a book about an old lady getting attacked by a penguin. So that would work. Me and Rich started a small sort of gay book club midway through the pandemic. Right, go
on. What's your favourite carb? Pasta, bread, rice, or potato?
Bread. Just bread all the time. I can just eat bread all day long. I'm born and bred.
All right. This one has to be for Adrian, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Right. So back to Adrian then. Tell me what you like to do on a weekend, but in either mine or Michael's accent.
Where I like to gun away.
I told you were Geordie. I told you were.
Fine. I mean, I'm not a Geordie, but fine.
Oh, am I?
You are. You sound Geordie, and you never think
not
it.
Geordie.
I was going to ask Michael, who do you think his impression was of? But that's pretty obvious. I'm offended at the same time as well. But yeah.
Is that it? Is that you flapping around?
That's me. 8 questions, yeah. I thought it was only quick. It is literally the lightning round. So it's the lightning round. Big Spring Camp.
Yeah.
Have you been every single year? Well, since you joined.
Since I joined, yes.
And why do you keep going back? Is Big Spring Camp your favourite event of the year?
The thing about Big Spring Camp, it is the one time that you will see most of the people you know that are in OutdoorLads. Other people you might see on an event during the year, but you can go for a year or two without seeing them if it wasn't the Big Spring Camp. It brings together so many people in one place.
That's the thing with Big Spring Camp. Because it's camping, it's very much open to your own interpretation of how you want that weekend to be. So if you want to see everyone, you can go and see everyone. You can walk around everyone's tent, say hello to each other. You can go to all that, the discos at night and dance with everyone and having a really good time with everyone. You can go have dinner with them in the clubhouse, that sort of stuff. Go and play all the games around the place. Go and watch something like there's a drag act sometimes. Go and do that stuff with them. Go and do the events with them, whether it's walking or abseiling or climbing, whatever the events are that weekend. Or if you just want to sit around your tent with a group of mates that you've gone with and have a fry up and just chill out with each other and have a few drinks until the late evening, you can do that. It doesn't have to be a mad, crazy event.
So what is your favourite event then?
Could I say favourite type of event rather than individual events?
Yes, but then I'm going to still push you for an answer anyway.
Okay, small hostels.
What's your favourite small hostel?
Favourite small hostel, Coniston Copper Mines.
Oh, I've never been there. Is it a YHA one?
Yeah, it's right at the top of the valley. It's the old cottage. It's been converted. Log burner fire in the living room. You wake up in the morning. Every time I've been there, you wake up in the morning and there's snow all around in the blue sky. And yeah, it's got a lovely cozy dining room area, small dormitories, and it's just picture perfect.
To be fair, I understand why you haven't given, or why you can't give a favourite event for a small hostel, because they're different every month, every year is different. Yeah. So, you might go to a perfect hostel and it's never going to be on again, or won't be on for like 2 or 3 years.
So what would you say your perfect ideal event would be?
It'd be a weekend event where let me see, knew half the people that were going and didn't know the other half. Every event I've been to, because obviously the more you go to, the more you get to know people. There's always been people on events that I've not known, that I've got to know through that event, and then you meet them again. So I think new people on an event is great, but also knowing people that are going to be there. Probably about 20 people, 25 people in the group. I know, yeah, it'll be a longish weekend, ideally. Camping or hosteling, I don't mind.
Thank you very much, Adrian, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Have you enjoyed your experience on the ODL podcast?
Yeah. So whereabouts does this appear now? Is this on the medium wave, or where do I have to listen to this?
The medium wave.
Everywhere. You're now as famous as Jackie Weaver. You'll be all over the internet.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that's the end of this week's podcast. Next week, you can join us to listen to Brian Cosgrove. And don't forget to head over to the Outdoor Lads website to sign up for the March members meeting and donate if you can.
This podcast was recorded by Michael Amer and Rich Laverick, and the music's by Scott Holmes.